welcome to the stage, Dixie De La Tour! How y'all doing? How many of you gonna get up and go pee while I tell my story now? So I am sitting at this stainless steel counter of this oyster bar in the Castro in San Francisco. And I am having oysters and champagne. And I'm sitting next to my date, who is the hottest man I have ever been out with. He's got like a shaved head and a goatee and olive skin, and he's wiry and he's hairy, and everything about this man turns me on. Have you ever seen the movie The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy? You know the guy Imhotep, the mummy? He looked just like Imhotep. And best of all, this guy's just smart. Everything about him is smart. And we are sitting there having oysters and champagne together. We are all over each other in this tiny little place. There's only like 24 seats in it. And he's grazing my tits as he reaches across to get the vinaigrette for the oysters. And I'm a little bit more brazen, and I reach under and I grab his hard dick underneath the counter through his jeans. And people are starting to notice. In fact, the leather daddy on the other side of Andy, my date that evening, is definitely noticing, and he agrees with me that Andy is the hottest man in this restaurant. And so, at some point, he reaches across to pretend to get the salt. And as he does, he touches Andy's arm, and Andy looks up to see who's touching him, and this leather daddy just eye fucks the shit out of him. Normally that would make me feel a little bit nervous, but I'm just smiling ear to ear. And I look at that leather daddy in the eye and I go, that's so sweet. But you can back up a little bit, because that load is mine tonight. I'd met Andy off Craigslist. We'd been going out about 3 weeks. I loved the fact that, I loved his picture. He definitely was attractive to me. But he was a high school math teacher. He loved to talk about stuff that I couldn't even figure out what the hell he was talking about. And he liked the fact that my email address was betterfedbetterhead@gmail.com. To give him a heads up, I'm a big girl, you know? And so we'd started going out, and I just really like it when someone is out of their element. And he was definitely out of his element with me. You guys know what a muggle is, right? I like to date muggles. I like really normal, never done anything in the sex world, because it makes me feel kind of smart and powerful, you know? They've never heard of this stuff. They've never seen this stuff, so it's just so much fun. And this guy would get so cranky because he was not comfortable in this world, but he certainly wanted to be in this world. He wanted to know everything there was to know. So week 1, I take him to his first swinger party, because that's how you start. And week 2, I take him to his first dungeon, and I explain the etiquette of the dungeon and what an X-cross is and all of that kind of stuff. And every time he's just uncomfortable, but he loves it at the same time. And the 3rd week, I take him out and I introduce sushi in a hot tub. I introduce sushi in a hot tub. So we go rent a hot tub by the hour, and we have eel, and we have spicy tuna, and we're finger banging each other, and we're boffing until all the water's out of the hot tub. And as we walk out of the hot tub place, he goes, Dix, you have just introduced me to so many new things. And I'd like to introduce you to something new. I'd like you to find a fantasy that you've never done before. And I want to make that fantasy come true for you. That's sweet. And I went to that place you go when you want to be a badass. And I went, oh, honey, I've done a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what you could introduce me to, but I haven't done. I know how to make people squirt, and I've done fisting. I've done a lot of stuff. That's really sweet, but I can't think of a single thing that you might be able to show me. And he's like, well, I want you to promise that you're going to keep it in mind. And I'm like, okay, I'll think about it. So he spends the night. The next morning's a Monday morning. He goes off to his job to teach kids high school math, and I go off to my job at an advertising agency. And I'm talking to my coworker, Mike Stars. He's this flamboyant gay character, always wearing this bright tropical shirt. And he's like, how's your weekend? I'm like, I'm dating the hottest nerd. Oh, my God. Everything about him just totally works for me. But sometimes when he goes off on astrophysics or environmental biology or algebra, I just want to go, yeah, flowers are pretty, because I don't feel very smart. Mike just smiles at me and he goes, well, you can be a little insecure sometime, but I want you to remember you have something that Andy does not have. And I'm like, well, what's that? And he goes, you have a blowjob trophy. And I'm like, well, I think I might have got that trophy for quantity, maybe not quality. Well, okay, how about the fact that you invented a kind of blowjob? Do y'all want to learn what kind of blowjob I... Yeah. So I invented a kind of blowjob called the wet Dixie. So wet Dixie is when I would often like to surprise guys with this. I would carry around this giant bottle of lube in my purse and get their dick all nice and hard, and then when they weren't looking, you'd reach in your purse and you'd fill your hand up with lube, and when they weren't looking, you went like this. And you get it all warm like room temperature. And then you do that champagne blowjob trick where you go down on their dick, because if you spill it, they're kind of onto you. And I suck their dick, and it feels like the wettest pussy you've ever had on your dick. One time I was doing it to this guy, and we were in a car, and he was 20-something, and I was much older than him, and I sneak, and I get the lube in my hand, and I put it in, and I go down on him, and he's just like, wait a minute, wait. What the fuck are you doing down there? Is that your tongue? I can't figure it out. You've got to tell. And he pulls me up off his dick. And so I swallow. He's like, tell me how you did that. And I'm like, I'm not telling you how I did that. Why not? I'm like, I tell you how to do that. You find an adorable 19-year-old and you have her do that to you. And when that happens, I'm out of the business. So if you want KFC, you gotta come to the Colonel, motherfucker. Stars is making me feel a little bit better about myself. So he says, you know what? I came across something the other day. It totally made me think of you. And he goes to the nearest computer and he pulls up a website. And the name of the website is milkers.com. And I take one look at all the gay men with giant hard dicks, and I'm like, we're going to get fired. And I shut that shit down. But the minute I get home, I go to milkers.com. And it has got hard dicks all over the homepage, and it says milkers.com is this membership site in Hollywood, California. Only men are allowed to join. And if you join the site, they have modified farm equipment. And they suck all the cum out of your dick. When you sign the paperwork, you gotta agree to minimum a half an hour of being milked. So you got this cow teat thing attached to your dick, just pulling all the cum out of you. I'm wondering what that's like. You just walk off the street in Hollywood and you're just like, oh, look, there's, yeah, jars full of cum. And I go into the frequently asked questions, and the number one question. That's funny? Really? Okay. I go into the FAQs, and it says, the number one question it says is, how do I buy all the buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of cum that you guys have collected from all the men walking in off the street in Hollywood, California? Because milkers.com is purported to have the most delicious, tasty, sweet cum in all of the world. And I'm like, how can that be? Sweet. I mean, I love to suck a dick. But sweet? I didn't do it for the flavor. I mean, sweet. And that takes me right back to my first blowjob. And my first blowjob was my boyfriend, Brian Fisher. Brian Fisher, we lived in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. And Brian was gay. And I would say, so you've sucked a dick, what's that like? You know? And he'd say, well, it's really great. And I'm like, so, yeah, I could tell it would be fun to suck a dick, but when it comes out, what does cum taste like? And he said, it's gonna really surprise you, but it tastes just like ice cream. It does not. He goes, it does. It really does. And I'm like, huh. And he goes, well, why don't you find out? We're up in a hayloft on a neighbor's property. He's sitting on a hay bale. He shucks down his pants and he's like, get to town. Come on, you can find out yourself. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. He's giving me pointers as I'm sucking his dick. It's getting hard. And I'm looking up at his face and he's got this expectant look. And I'm like, well, he's really into it. And I'm just watching his face, and I feel his dick kind of get hard, and then all of a sudden, he comes in my mouth. Oh, my. And all wrapped around his dick. I make the most god-awful face, because it don't taste like ice cream. It tastes like rattlesnake venom is what it tastes like. Brian falls off the hay bale laughing. He's just crying, saying, I wish you could have seen your face when you swallowed. So I'm like, sweet, how can cum be that sweet? It can't possibly. So on milkers.com, I click on this link that says 10 amazing cum facts. And they're going to tell you how to make cum really sweet.
They're lies.
Someone here has sucked a dick in their life. And it's got all this information on how to flavor your cum. It's got like, don't eat red meat, don't have cigarettes, don't drink caffeine, have lots of salad, have lots of fruit, drink a lot of water. And they tell you that you can not only affect the flavor of cum. You can affect the quantity of cum. You can make a load the size of a fucking Atlantic Ocean. And I'm God help us all. But the thing that was most interesting about this, yeah, there's the salad, yeah, there's the meat. It says, there is a secret to making cum so sweet that you're going to be astounded by how delicious it is. Do you want to know what the secret of delicious cum is?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Do you want to know the secret of delicious cum? The secret of delicious cum is molasses. Molasses is what is known as a double whammy. A double whammy will not only make the cum taste incredibly delicious, it will make the quantity of the cum be astoundingly huge. And I'm like, oh my God, I think this is the thing. So when Andy comes over the next night, he sets up the Trivial Pursuit board, because I love to lose at Trivial Pursuit. I get to learn while you beat my ass. And I said, you know that fantasy thing you had the other day? I think I got it. I think I got the thing. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I want to control your diet for 3 days. And you can only eat exactly what I tell you to eat, nothing else. And he's like, you want to dom my food? And I'm like, no, I don't want to dom your food. I want to feel like a scientist. Because I feel smart in the world of sex. And this is an opportunity for me to do something that makes me feel smart. And I said, and I've learned how to do it, and I want to do it together. And he is really excited about this idea. He can't believe I've never done it before, which is astounding. So he gets a pen and piece of paper, and he's like, okay, here we go. What are we doing? And I'm like, okay, number 1, can't have no stinky fish. No red meat. Didn't drink coffee. Didn't smoke cigarettes. Can't have any asparagus. Can't have any beer. You're dying over there, aren't you? No beer. Number 2, you are going to have tons and tons of salad. You're going to drink a lot of water. You're going to have a lot of fruit. You're going to have melon and papaya and kiwi and bananas and all of these things sweeten your cum. Pineapple for sure, absolutely. Give that man a round of applause. That person is a pervert. Pineapple's the most obvious one. Thank you for bringing that up. Number 3, every single day, you are going to have as much molasses as you can get into your body. He's like, well, how am I going to do that? Nobody eats molasses. And I'm like, well, you could get up in the morning, you could do a couple tablespoons before you go to work. That's one way. Or you could have fruitcake. You could have gingerbread, which has molasses in it. You could have homemade oatmeal cookies made with molasses. You could have baked beans, but you can only do that one for the first 2 days. All of these things have molasses in them. And it's really important that to see if this science experiment has worked, you cannot masturbate or have sex for the next 3 days. And he's like, well, okay, that's going to be hard, but let's do it. So the next morning he gets up, and he is on his new diet. And the hottest foreplay I have ever experienced is this guy calling me 3 or 4 times a day, going, I'm eating Caesar salad. Cracker Jacks is another one. And he's like, I'm on the golf course and I'm eating Cracker Jacks and my hands are all sticky and I'm thinking about you. And I'm just like, I didn't even know this was a thing. This is awesome. So on the second night, I'm like, okay, so tomorrow night's the big night. We're going to find out if I'm a nerd or not. So let's go out, we'll have oysters, let's have champagne. And then we're going to go home, and I'm going to suck a hell of a lot of cum out of your dick. And he says, I'm in. So we go to the oyster bar. We have oysters. We have champagne. They say, y'all want dessert? And we go, no. And we race home to my apartment, and as we get inside, we are tearing each other's clothes off, and we only make it as far as the dining room because I have got him stripped naked, and I am on my knees. I am on my knees, naked, gobbling up that dick. And it's a nice dick. And it is hard as a rock for we're even in the door. And I can't wait to find out if everything we've been doing, this foreplay is actually going to work. And so I am going to town on his dick, and I might have been a little bit overzealous. Because in about 1 minute, he blows his load. And it's not the biggest load. It tastes kind of like it always tasted, which is kind of like rattlesnake venom. And he's looking down at my face expectantly, like, yeah. And I'm like, I sit back on my heels and I pout, and I'm like, I wanted you to make me a scientist. I wanted you to make me a nerd, and it's exactly the same. It's not different. And he goes, honey, you have to understand that science experiments fail more times than they succeed. We can try it again. Let's go to bed. And I'm like, okay. And we climb into my bed and go to sleep, and a couple hours later, I feel a hard dick pressing against my ass. I'm a little surprised at that, because Andy's not a bounce-back boy. He's like a one and done. But his dick is ready to go. And I want to do something that makes me feel good. And so I slide down under the covers, and this one's not for him, and this one's not for science, this one's for me. And I take my sweet-ass time, just sliding his dick down my throat, doing all those tricks, you know, like deep-throating it, and you know that trick where you tickle their frenulum, and they're just like, their cock twitches, and they're just like, and he's got his hand on the back of my head, and it's nice and slow, and I feel that cock start twitching, and I feel his cock getting harder, and I know he's about ready to blow his load in my mouth, and I'm just like, yeah, here it comes. And when he comes, it is 4 times more than he has ever cummed in his life. And it tastes just like candy. And I hold it in my mouth, I don't swallow it, and I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. Is that papaya? Yeah. I taste a little cinnamon from the oatmeal cookies. And there's some nutmeg and banana and pineapple, and way down underneath, I taste that deep, dark, black strap molasses. And I pop up with this giant grin on my face. And I'm like, baby, you made me a nerd. Thank you. And I said, you know what? I realized. I'm sorry, Kevin, I get a little lost when I talk about dick. And I said, baby, you know what? I figured it out. The first blowjob, that should have been the one. But the reason it worked on the second blowjob is because we forgot to clear the pipes. You didn't masturbate. You didn't fuck. So next time we do this, we're going to do it completely different. And he's like, I'm in. And so now I have this new fantasy. And my new fantasy is to open Dixie's Semen Candy and Gift Shop. And you can walk in off the street in Hollywood, California, and you can buy pre-made bottles of watermelon kiwi or molasses nutmeg, or you can buy it right there in the store, or you can take all the ingredients home and make your own. I'm so grateful that I now have this thing that can keep me thrilled for years to come. Thank you, milkers.com.